You can answer them quickly, or you can take your time.
Okay.
They're dumb, so we apologize ahead of time.
Ash likes to make up games. You just have
you
just have to indulge him.
I fucking love dumb questions.
Oh, good.
I'm always asking rhetorical, stupid stuff to the cast, so this is my element.
All right, welcome to Rated NA, the podcast for the website nerdappropriate.com. This is episode number 225, and I'm your host, Matt.
And I'm Scott.
I'm Ash.
And we have a very special guest with us today.
Yes, iZombie fans rejoice because Rahul Kohli is actually on our show this week talking about games, talking about iZombie, talking about what he finds inside the box, what he likes to eat on his pizza. He is a charming, awesome gentleman, and as I say all the time, we have guests. I kind of want to be this guy's buddy.
Yeah.
I think time permitting, he could fill in for any of us should one of us not be able to make the podcast.
Absolutely good.
Yeah.
He is very much one of us, and it was really cool of him to come on the show and hang out and talk about his adventures. And I think you guys will like this one. You know, we get to talk about games a lot. You know, we have a lot of guests on the show, but sometimes they're just not the biggest gamers like we are, which is fine. But you know, Rahul absolutely is a huge gamer. So
just a little inside baseball. We talked about games on the interview, and then the interview ended, and then we kept talking about games.
Yeah. So you might hear a couple weird cuts in there because we're going to throw that extra stuff in because it was really good. So
you don't have to tell them that. Just let it be magical.
Oh, you'll hear some magical Scott cuts.
You'll hear the star wipe, and that means we cut it.
Yeah. Is there an audio equivalent of the star wipe?
I would assume like a swoosh.
Yeah, like a swoosh. We should start adding swooshes to all of our things.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's something we need to work on then.
And you know what?
As a group.
You know what? I think it was in last month's Loot Crate, actually. Rahul was actually in the Dead Crate talking about iZombie. So who brought us this episode, Matt?
What an amazing segue.
You know.
That's a great segue. Loot Crate brought us this episode.
No way. Coincidence.
Yeah, weird, right? Just after you brought it up. The theme for March is Versus, because there's a big Versus movie coming out, I hear. So we're exploring some of pop culture's greatest rivalries: Dark Knight versus Man of Steel, Alien versus Predator, Spock versus Mirror Universe Spock, Daredevil versus Punisher, Harley Quinn versus everyone?
Yes.
I hope we never get
this question. You add that question mark every time.
I love adding it. It's like my favorite. That's the way it should read. I want to write them back and be like, that should have been a question mark, and like a question mark, exclamation point, question mark.
You know, a little secret. I wrote the copy for the past couple episodes, and there was a line that said, "Everybody get looty." I actually wrote that just so you had to read it. You said it for like 3 weeks. Everybody get looty.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
I'm Ron. Go fuck yourself, San Diego. So head on over to lootcrate.com/ratedNA and use the code ratedNA to get a discount on your subscription and get your looty goodness all year long if you so choose. But please do it. You get shirts, you get pins, you get little books and boxes you can display it in. It's pretty great. And
you help out our little show.
You do?
The little show that could.
Yeah. We cutting paychecks this Friday? Or?
Hey, you know what we should do? We should let them listen to the interview.
That's a good call.
Good idea.
Enjoy your interview with Rahul Kohli. Yay! All right, so we are here with a very special guest this week, and this is super exciting for me because I am a massive fan of iZombie. We're here with Rahul Kohli, who is Ravi on iZombie, and you, for some reason, agreed to come on our show. Thank you so much, man.
Oh no, pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is exciting because you know, we're all fans of the show, and I want to say that this is one of my favorite shows on the air right now. And we were talking right before the show got started, and I've been following you on Twitter for quite some time, and the things that you tweet are like right in our wheelhouse. And I was just like, and I was joking, like this guy is absolutely one of us. He like loves the same things we love. And you were actually just tweeting about the Sony VR just a few minutes ago, and I was like, oh man, I want to talk about that too.
Yeah. Nothing's. I guess when you're growing up, like I was always into like comic books and video games and all that stuff, but there seems to be, it kind of has some sort of value nowadays for some reason. Like it's all those things that we're interested in are kind of geek chic and cool, I guess. So a lot of people are always kind of interested in what we have to say about video games and comic book culture and stuff. So right now it's fashionable. We'll see what happens in a few years.
Yeah, right. In a few years, they'll be rounding us up and throwing us in a pit someplace.
Exactly.
when the next round of comic book movies are terrible,
We'll still be content to just still sit around and talk about it.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's, like, normally when I have guests on for the first time, I start out with the origin story because I do want to hear about you growing up and playing games, but I really just out of curiosity want to know what you're playing right now.
On pause right now is The Division.
Oh my God, us too, man.
Same, exactly the same.
But it's I don't know how long I have on it, because I'm not a real big multiplayer kind of guy. I don't like I play video games to not fucking talk.
Yeah.
Talk to people. It's always been a kind of escapism for me. So MMORPGs kind of go against everything I game for. So I'm playing it because it's relevant. It's a big game. I think it's important to check it out. But now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, well, I need to party up and experience more of the social aspects, and that's probably where I'll probably just like delete it.
Yeah,
But it's great. It's a great game.
It is a really pretty game, and you're right. It is hard because a lot of these games are now built with multiplayer in mind. And I totally feel you. Sometimes you just want to be by yourself and kind of zone out and not have to worry about that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's hard when a really gorgeous game like The Division comes along that it doesn't necessarily require multiplayer, but there does come a point where you're like, oh man, this would be better with more people, but I don't know if I want to do it.
Yeah, let alone
you feel like you're missing the kind of full experience, right? By playing it like it's The Witcher. That's how it feels like I'm not getting the full experience out of it. So, me and Division don't really have long left in our relationship.
Not long left, huh? Did you play through The Witcher by chance?
I did, yeah. But I had to drop that because I go through periods where, especially with work while we're filming iZombie, I could have 6 days off between filming, just because of the way the script is, and I can throw myself into something, put in 100+ hours, and then find out, oh no, I'm in every day next week. And what happens is, by the time I return, I've like almost lost touch. It's really weird. It's like, so I kind of don't get solid evenings where I'll sit down and play a little bit at a time. It'll just be binge gaming and then stop, binge gaming and stop. So it's kind of mucked. Like I did that with Metal Gear. I've literally just stopped at the boss battle about a month ago. I don't know why. So now
you're so close.
Yeah, but then how long is it going to take me to get back to my old Snake skills? You know what I mean?
It's really true. And there is a really steep learning curve, especially for a game like Metal Gear where the systems are really complicated. That's why, like we were talking about this the other day on the show, I rarely go back and play the DLC in games, even though I might be like one of the suckers that buys the season pass, just because it's kind of daunting to go back and be like, oh shit, I forgot how to get around my base and forgot how to equip stuff. Like I don't remember this.
Arkham's like I'm a huge Batman fan, and when Arkham came out, that's all I did pretty much. And then when the DLC rolls around, I'm done. I put that game to bed. I'm sorry, I just did. I finished it's as much as I wanted to do. I completed what was on the disc. And then I got all this extra stuff, and I was like, I don't care anymore. DLC doesn't really work for someone like me.
Yeah, no, I totally feel your pain. Well, let's go into the way back time machine, and let's talk about you when you were a wee young. And when did you first, get interested in pop culture and games and all that stuff?
I think my earliest memory was my dad had it's a computer in the UK called an M-Strad, and he had one, and it's not like an Atari or anything. It used to load cassette tapes.
Oh, wow.
It takes about 10 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah. Like Sony Walkman cassette tapes, and you would load them for about 10 minutes, and then it would have some sort of rudimentary game or whatever. And I think me and my old man would play on that for, I think I was probably about 2 or 3. It was one of the earliest things. Yeah, man. It was one of the earliest. And and also film was a big thing because I think Masters of the Universe. I have this memory of being obsessed with He-Man, and I remember my first holiday, so I was 3 years old, and I just remember like jumping around. It was when Dolph Lundgren, when Dolph Lundgren,
yeah,
oh yeah,
of course,
when he's flying on those discs.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Right? We had like these little couches that were circular shaped, and I remember being 3 years old just reenacting, and that's how I kind of got into acting. It sounds really weird, and but all my memories of my earliest kind of forays with acting were mimicking Ralph Macchio or Michael Keaton or Dolph Lundgren or Sylvester Stallone, and just
great 80s pop culture movies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It just literally raised. And I remember like me and my two older cousins, we literally would reenact every fight sequence from Karate Kid with all the words. I was always Ralph Macchio because I kind of looked like it when I was a kid, and that was my first real kind of. I really enjoyed like role play and pretend, but film and gaming have always been pretty much the soundtrack to my life, and they sort of. I don't really remember a time when it wasn't present, and it just sort of raised me from there.
That's really. I mean, it must be really cool for you now to be on this show that is, based on a comic book and and it has so many fans. I was lucky enough to actually be at your SDCC panel.
No shit, you were there?
I was there, man. So my wife is also a huge fan of the show, so we were there like right in the front. And just seeing you guys up there having such a good time, just beaming, it must be really unreal because, you're a lot like us. I can just tell it's a child of pop culture. And then to be kind of up there, and be a part of it must just be really fucking cool. Yeah,
I mean, like, I didn't really work very much from the age of sort of 20. I think I got out of drama school when I was 20. And I got iZombie when I was 28. So for those 8 years, I mainly did just commercials. No one in the UK wanted to fucking touch me. Like, I could barely get a line in a TV show, which is insane now because it's like these guys come along and they give me one of the lead characters.
Right.
And to consider that before that, for 8 years, no one would go near me. I was like the plague. And then like getting the role and flying out to Vancouver and meeting Rob Thomas and doing what we were doing and meeting DC, for me, the moment it really was like, fuck, this is insane, was my first CDCC, which was sitting behind, having the logos behind me and my own nameplate.
Yeah.
That
crazy, right?
That moment was like,
you're like, this is real.
Shit, and it's never going to be the same again. Like, this is it. This is your life's just changed like that.
Yeah, and fans in the nerd culture are very passionate, as you know.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's like, and also like just prior to that, a year ago, maybe even two before that, like, I would, illegally try and fucking see footage of Man of Steel's Comic-Con trailer, which was brilliant. But like, I would always try and sneak these things, and I would always watch the panels as best I could. From someone's filming it on their phone or whatever, And even when I wasn't working, I used to say to my girlfriend, like, I'll be up there, you'll see. And I really did awesome. Say that. And that's what was mental about it just all sort of happening. And I love doing the conventions. I was at the London one queuing up Fancy Daniel's autograph. So to now kind of cross the line and be on the other side of that, it's very grateful and it's very humbling.
I bet. I've heard the story of how you got hired for iZombie, and I think it's an incredible story. If you wouldn't mind telling, just for our listeners, because it's crazy. It's like something that doesn't happen. So it's honestly the equivalent of winning the lottery. Not to say that you're not a totally talented guy, because you are, but I'm saying like the circumstances behind you getting hired in the United States are just insane.
Yeah, so if you imagine, set the scene, guy 28 years old lives in his parents' house and makes £100, maybe £200 a month, if that, and I've just been grinding and going to every audition I could, and then I got this audition for 24, and it is relevant, the 24 part. So I went in on a Friday for 24, and there was a big fuck up, and I only got my script outside the office.
Oh, geez.
So when I got in, they apologized and said, "Hey, we know you're not prepared. We apologize. And I really wanted this role. It was for the one set in the UK, and so they knew they fucked up. And when we got into the room, I wasn't able to deliver. I was still struggling trying to memorize as much as I possibly could before, within the 5 minutes beforehand, and and the person was a bit of a dick to me, and and I walked out of the audition. It was done, and I was fucking livid. And I called my agent, and I was just like, I'm sick of this, man. Like, getting treated like this. This is just, and it's been 10 years of this, grinding and grinding and grinding. Nothing's fucking happening. Mm. I remember this conversation just outside the train station, and he goes, all right, cool. Look, I'm sorry, Rahul. Listen, I've got an audition for you for this thing called iZombie. It's a pilot. And I was like, yeah, fucking send it. I'm gonna, and I was so upset with the lack of preparation. I went so hard that weekend on this Ravi character, and it was all out of just this anger about 24 and stuff. And then I go in on a Monday, and they wanted this big, energetic doctor kind of character, and I was rattling this 2-3 page scene at like light speed. I was giving them everything they want, but then I got scared, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah.
This is a risk because I could trip up here. I'm being put on tape. It's being sent to America. I sat down in this chair, and I ended up seeing, which I don't think I've ever told anyone this publicly, I ended up seeing the computer screen where the girl was editing other people's tapes.
Oh, wow.
No way.
And I could see him just before my audition, and everyone had decided to not go for the energetic character and the big, fun guy.
Yeah.
Everyone played it serious. And then I was like, fuck it. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with stick to my guns. I went in, we did it, and the casting director was really shocked, and she loved it. So that was a Monday. They come back, bring me in on a Wednesday. Rob Thomas had some notes, gave me an extra couple of scenes. And then on Friday, I got the call. They were like, you got the part. That was it.
That's ridiculous, man.
And that's it.
So I can probably guess what your reaction was like, but did you like drop the phone and like go to the bathroom in your pants? Like what in the hell?
Well, it was like it kind of didn't come out of the blue. It was like, it's a really messed up thing, man. Like, you want to know when you're in this industry and it's audition based and things, like, you want to know as much as you possibly can about where you are, but that can hurt you at the same time. So you want to know, am I down to the final 3? Am I the last 2? Everything in your body wants a recall or to know that you're making progress in that audition. At the same time, the more you find out, the more you could get hurt potentially, and now you have something to lose. So during that week, from Monday, I had nothing to lose. The minute she said it was brilliant, I had something to lose. On Wednesday, when they brought me in and it was the recall, now I had even more to lose.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's comforting, but it's scary at the same time. Yeah. By the time I got there on Friday, I was brought into the office, to my agent's office, to sign the contract for iZombie, the same one that exists now. I had to sign before they offered it to me. So now apparently they told me I was down to the last 3. So I'm signing this documentation, and this has never happened before. Yeah. And I've never auditioned for a pilot before. So this is my first ever pilot, and it's a fucking tape that's been sent off. So I don't meet Rob or Diane or anyone to kind of charm. It's just a cold tape.
Right.
So by the time I got the phone call, it was 1 a.m. I was playing FIFA, and because I couldn't sleep, and I knew I was going to get this phone call to tell me if I had it or not.
Yeah.
By the time I got it, it was just... It's funny how within a week you've already built in sort of... how can I put it? It's
you're just alone with your thoughts. It's like, it's just you, and it's like Tuesday, you're waiting. Thursday, you're waiting, right?
Yeah. But you kind of already are attached, and it's already become a journey. So it wasn't like a lightning bolt where it was like, oh my God, out of nowhere, I this tape I sent. No, like... For a week, I ate and slept iZombie.
Right. Yeah.
So by the time I got it, it was just relief. You know what I mean? My emotions were so just jacked from the process.
Absolutely.
And you had sort of like you bought into it mentally, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're fully committed by then, and unfortunately, and it's silly but you have something to lose. The minute you find out that you're close or they like your character, this thing switches, and now you start being hard on yourself. Now you're trying not to lose this thing you have no control over. So by the time they called me to confirm Ravi, I was just relieved. And then I shit my pants. The next 2 weeks was, oh my God, my first scene in the pilot has more dialogue than the first 8 years on camera in my career.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's the next hurdle. Yeah. So it was been a crazy journey, man.
And
sorry, Ash. I don't remember what interview I heard this in, but I've heard before that contract you sign is crazy. Like it shows you like essentially what you're going to make for the next 3 years or whatever. It's like seeing your life 6 or 7 years. Like it's like literally seeing what your life could be for 7 years, and then but you don't actually have it yet. It's just like a out of front to get out of the negotiation phase kind of thing.
Oh yeah, it's a messed up thing. It's like they might as well show you pictures of your mansion. Do you know what I mean? And your new showbiz friends at the audition and go, if you get it, this is all yours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so terrifying.
It's just one of the one I signed, and it's kind of an industry standard. Most shows now, they kind of commit you to about 6 or 7 years. So we have to sign that before we're offered the thing. So, and what sucks is that like, they could show you that great contract and it could be, it would change your life and everything's great. But your pilot, you have to sign up for the pilot. Your pilot might not get picked up. There's so many hurdles.
A lot of variables.
And it really is it's exhausting. And both me and I've been quite ill recently, and I was like, I don't know why, but I realized that it's the last few days about when we found out we were renewed.
Yeah, I was going to say congrats, by the way.
That
was awesome.
Thank
Congratulations.
You. Yeah, that exhausted me. It depleted me for some reason. Again, more emotions like, oh, I'm working for another year. You're just always in this constant roller coaster of emotion and doubt, and then security. And 1 minute you're hot and you can go on Twitter and 2,000 people tell you how funny and handsome you are. Then the next minute you're this big fat fucking racist. So it's like constantly, like that's what you do, man. Like, and I see why some actors and people in the showbiz just fucking snap.
Well, and plus you're building relationships with the crew and the cast, and it's like, man, it's like, am I going to see those people next year? And then you have that moment of relief where it's like, holy shit, I am. I mean, just seeing you guys at San Diego Comic-Con, like you could definitely see that there's an incredible rapport. Like you guys are just really, really tight.
Oh, hell yeah. This is proper, like, this is a proper crew. Like I know a lot of TV shows, they, it's good publicity to say that the cast hang out and they're good friends. Like, no, this one's legit. Like, we're all stupidly close, and it really kind of, I know you said like, it must be great for me to be on this show, to be employed, and to be on a comic book show, and have all of those things. But really and truly, if I didn't have the relationships I have with the cast and crew, it wouldn't matter what the fuck this was. This could be Star Wars and I'd be miserable. Like, it's the fact that it happens to be Malcolm and David and Buckley and Ali and Rose, and that's our group. That elevates it above anything. It doesn't matter whether we're DC, Vertigo, or Image. It doesn't matter. It's all about that rapport, and that's what we're the most sort of grateful for.
Yeah, that's really. So let's talk a little bit about Ravi, and I read, so I think it was on your Twitter actually, that when you are actually filming, you sort of have a bit of a process. You actually don't watch serious stuff. You kind of just watch comedies while you're filming. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I thought that was really cool when I stumbled across that.
Yeah, there's no sort of rule. I learned this at school, which was there's no rules or set ways to act. There really isn't, man, and it's an art, and there's you do what you need to do to get where you need to be. And for some of us, some people are able to just enjoy their lives, clock in at work, perform, do a great performance, and go home. Unfortunately, I can't. I'm not that skilled. Yeah. And for me, I'm a very, very moody, grumpy fucker. Like, everyone at work, I am. You'd be shocked how everyone's always like, this grumpy motherfucker. Like, that's what I am, and I've always been that way. And then I have to play this character that is just the happiest, like, ball of energy. So it kind of was like, the biggest thing I used to do was music. Music was my biggest process. So I have this playlist on my iPod, and whether I was pissed off in the morning or happy, doesn't matter. When I drive to work, I blast that playlist, and by the time I've arrived on set, the energy levels are up. I'm ready to muck around. I'm telling jokes, and I run with it for the rest of the day. And it kind of helps me keep Ravi at a certain happy scale. Yeah. Then what happened was, after season 1, I felt like I ran out of jokes, and I was like, oh no, I'm now a comedian as well. And my delivery is going to become really, really obvious all the time. What do I do? What, you know what I mean? I kind of stressed in season 2, so I just started binging on comedies. And my go-to hero is Ricky Gervais, but I had borrowed so much from him.
Absolutely.
I was like, oh shit, this is like almost plagiarism. Like, what do I do? So I started watching Arrested Development and God, all the shows, Parks and Rec and Key and Peele. I was just watching everything I possibly could that called itself a comedy, just for a new way to approach a punchline, or just to keep things. I want to keep the viewers entertained, man, and I don't want I don't want people to be able to guess the Ravi punchline. I don't want them to know the delivery that's coming, so while I was out here, man, I literally stayed away from anything. I will always watch 3 TV shows over and over again, and that's Sopranos, The Wire, and Deadwood.
Oh, that'll kill you, man! Oh my gosh,
those are the most. I could watch Sopranos for breakfast. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm good with violence and dark stuff, but while I was out here, I just couldn't. I don't need that in my life. I'd probably be doing better if I was watching a comedy film or listening to a fun podcast or. And then as soon as we wrapped, I watched Jessica Jones. So that's
so good, isn't it?
It's pretty damn good. They're slow burners, those Marvel shows. I've fallen asleep through Daredevil and Jessica Jones like 6 times trying to get through.
But then those action scenes when they kick in,
they're great. It's just they are slow burners, and it's there's a reason films are 2 hours long.
Right. Absolutely.
When you have that much kind of empty space and quiet moments and real cerebral things, like film really indulges in quietness and beats. TV can't, because they're scared to change the channel. So Jessica Jones and Daredevil are in this weird thing where they are literally like 10-hour movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that can really fuck with kind of your concentration level sometime.
No, I totally hear you. I mean, as much as I loved them, there were times where it's very drawn out and very, very slow. Yeah, and and that it's a different way to watch a superhero story. So I wasn't quite expecting it either.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I mean, it's funny what you were saying about watching shows like Deadwood and stuff, and I can imagine that would really, that would impact your performance. I think that's really cool that you just kind of purge those for a little while and go straight for the funny, because you're right, like Ravi is just an incredibly funny character, and having to be funny all the time, day in and day out, must just be totally exhausting.
It's I mean, it has its pressures, man. Like, I'll read a script, and to be honest, man, there's not much improvisation. Like, I think a lot of people, and that's the mark of a good show and good writing, a lot of people think we do get to improvise a lot of what we say,
right? And
we don't. It's Rob and the writers. They know our voice, and I'll read a script, and I could lazily just turn up to work and just deliver what they said, and it's still funny. Like, the work's all done anyway. But I still like to have fun with it, and I still like to give. Like, if we have one scene, there'll be like 3 Ravi punchlines in there, maybe in a morgue scene. I like to, maybe if I can throw in an extra 2 of my own, or a look that they weren't expecting, or a delivery. So because I still enjoy playing the character, and I really enjoy the being on the show.
Right.
I want to give as much as I possibly can, and keep surprising the directors and the producers and stuff.
Well, he's such a fun character, and you're kicking so much ass with him. And
cheers, man.
Yeah, it's I can't wait to see what happens next. I'm really stoked you guys got a 3rd season, which is going to be super fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how we left it off. We leave it in
I can't wait.
Place, man. Like,
how many episodes are left in the season? A handful? Just a handful?
So you are about to see 15, I think, is next week.
Yeah, I think it's 15.
So we just wrapped 19, and that's it.
So just a few more. Oh man, I can't wait to see what happens.
And I'm
sure I'll be tweeting at you like, "What the hell?"
And I think, I don't know if this is confirmed, but I think the last 2 are a double bill anyway. I'm sure of it. So we'll be off the air in less than a few weeks
awesome.
Until season 3.
That's so exciting. Can't wait to see who the hell she eats next. It's always like, that's always the wild card. Like, what are we going to get?
Yeah, of course it dictates the whole episode.
Yeah, it's super fun. So we have a bunch of silly lightning round questions. You can answer these literally any way you want. You can answer them quickly, or you can take your time.
Mm-hmm.
They're dumb, so we apologize ahead of time.
Ash likes to make up games. You just have
you
just have to indulge
Hey,
him.
I fucking love dumb questions. So
Oh, good.
I'm always asking rhetorical, stupid stuff to the cast. So this is my element.
You'll like these then. We spent so much time putting these together. That's a lie. We didn't spend that time. All right. So here's the first one. What is the first movie you remember seeing in the movie theater?
Oh, fuck. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, man.
Wow.
That is a good one.
That's quality right there.
That is. I remember seeing that in the theater myself. That was definitely a classic.
That's my earliest one, I think. Yeah.
And then, of course, you go home after that and beat the crap out of your friends. You know, that's all of those movies.
I had this huge pizza addiction because of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah. Nothing wrong with that. All right. Would you get along with the 16-year-old version of yourself?
Oh, that's a great question. Would I get along with it? Yeah, I would, because we haven't fucking changed. Dude, I don't know why I'm confessing. I haven't showered in 3 days. I've just been in my apartment eating crap and playing video games and just being a general dickhead. And I was doing that at 16. So, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we'd get on just fine. Nothing's changed.
High fives and hanging out. That's great. Which video game do you wish had a sequel that does not have a sequel?
Ooh, that's a great question.
It's a hard one because I don't even know how I would answer this.
This is going to be a cheat. Oh no, it's not a cheat actually. Fuck that. I want the sequel to Red Dead Redemption. Sequel to Red Dead Redemption, please.
Absolutely.
That is a brilliant answer.
One of my favorite games of all time, and I know I can feel it coming anyway. So I think I might get my wish.
I really hope that you're right. I would love to see it. We're going to spoil Red Dead right now just for our listeners, but it ends on such a down note. I kind of want to see the story when he was like a young badass, when Marston was a young
you want to have a
badass.
prequel?
Yeah, I kind of do. I'm not a huge prequel fan, but man, I love that character so much. I loved his story. I loved this whole, like, it's been a long time, so I don't remember it all that well, but I remember, he was like a bank robber and, he fell in love with his wife and kind of left his life of crime. I want to hear that story before the so sad ending.
Kind of just resetting.
Oh yeah,
vein of Grand Theft and telling another story.
Oh, that's probably what they'll do. That's very Rockstar.
They might even do multiple characters again. Like they might do the Franklin Trevor Michael thing. Who knows? You might play more than one at any given time. I'm obsessed with the Wild West, and it's one of my favorite games of all time.
Red Dead almost got me a job at Rockstar.
Yeah.
So.
That's fucking awesome. Yeah, Red Dead's just, it's, everyone wants to talk about the Nintendo 64 because we're all of that generation, right? So 9 times out of 10 when people go, what are your favorite games? If you don't say Ocarina of Time or GoldenEye or something, like usually you looked as like a freak.
Yeah.
And as much as they are up there, like they are, and Knights of the Old Republic, like Red Dead, it just did something, man. It just had everything. It was the perfect game for me.
They hit an emotional tone, I think. That
absolutely.
Was just like it was great.
The use of music was so well done, and sometimes they played soundtracks over the like Compass and stuff. Some of the songs that played was incredible.
Yeah,
amazing.
It's not nearly as good as Red Dead, but did you ever play Bully? It was like a previous.
I never got round to playing Bully. I always wanted to, man.
It's so crazy. It's the typical Rockstar thing that they do, but it's set at a private school with this kid who's just trying to navigate sort of the politics of being like a middle school or high school student in a private school and like dealing with all this crap. And but in typical Red Dead or like Grand Theft Auto fashion, he rides like a bicycle around the town, like around the private school, and can do all the crazy stuff that you would do in those other games. And just the whole premise of it makes the whole game ridiculous because he's just a kid,
Yeah,
it's wild.
Or just are you looking forward to anything coming out? Any games?
Oh yeah, I like you got the usual offenders, man. Like I'm hyped for Uncharted, obviously, and Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is going to be fun, and I mean, but for some reason, and No Man's Sky, I can't wait to check out No Man's Sky, but fucking Doom, man. I don't know why. There's something about Doom, and it's not like I was the biggest Doom fan before this year. But Doom has just got me. Like I'll always like hone in on a game for the year and be like and talk about it until people want to fucking throw up.
Yeah.
And Doom is just that, man. Like there is something. I'm just ready for it. It's just come at the right time. I'm 30 years old, and And that old school Duke Nukem Doom gory fucking, there's just, I don't know, there's something visceral about, I just really, yeah. Doom
they're a ton of fun, and that the new Doom looks absolutely incredible. I really hope it's solid. I can't wait.
And I didn't get to play it at E3 either, but yeah, yeah, Doom's going to be my game of the year for this.
Did you go to E3 last year?
I did, yeah, my first ever one.
Oh
yeah.
no shit, it was my first one last year too, man. Awesome. All right, so here's an iZombie theme question. Would you mind being a zombie, an iZombie zombie?
Good question. Okay. I was thinking about this the other day. For narrative wise, I wouldn't care for it. I like Ravi, and I think there's so much more to explore with him. He's one of the few characters no one knows anything about him. You meet him in the pilot, and he just is who he is. And you know, there's a lot of things going on right now with the developing relationships with Peyton and Blaine and whatever. So I kind of don't, but the actor in me would absolutely love to keep playing different characters every week.
Yeah.
So that would be if ever I found out or I got the call and they were like, hey, listen, Ravi gets bit or scratched or whatever, eating brains and taking on the characteristics and doing that kind of with Rose would be awesome. I'd love to have a go at it. Could be terrible, could be awful TV, but
it's funny because I love him so much just as this, you know, as this comedic character who's sort of like, you know, he's sort of the backbone, like the Xander character that is just is there and everyone needs him to be there because he is very logical and funny and everyone...
he's like a Giles Xander, like
yes, very much a Giles Xander, absolutely. So yeah, I don't know what I would love to see it because I think you would kick ass just, you know, all of a sudden being like a fucking assassin or something, but but it would be odd, but I would be totally into it. All right, so this is probably the hardest question, I would say.
Okay.
You're stranded on a desert island, and a small box washes up on shore. What is inside that box?
Oh, well, it's a big box. There's a few items in there.
Okay.
It's a power generator that runs on renewable energy, like maybe a solar power generator, and a flat screen and a PlayStation. Perfect. That's it, man. I literally I don't even need to fucking eat, and maybe, you know, yeah, that's it.
There you go. That's a great answer. I think that would likely be one of our answers as well.
Yeah, I was going to say truly one of us.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't go wrong with just, you know, sitting on a desert island with your console. That sounds like a great vacation.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Here, we're getting near the end here. You've been kidnapped. You can call on the characters from one television show to make a rescue attempt. Which show do you pick?
Oh, I can call on the characters from a television show. That's a great one. Damn, that one got me harder than the
box.
The box, yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
What do I pick from a television show?
It doesn't even have to be logical. You can really just pick.
Oh fuck! Then I choose the animated X-Men.
That's amazing.
The 90s animated X-Men?
Yeah.
Oh, that is excellent. Still the best theme song ever.
Oh, one of the best. Yeah, one of my first ringtones. Oh, there you go.
That's brilliant. Oh, that pilot still makes me laugh. If you watch it now as an adult, you're like, what the hell was this show? It was great. I absolutely love it. So that's a great answer. Animated X-Men. All right, last question of the evening. The perfect pizza is one topped with blank.
I'm eating it now. It's I like Hawaiian, so ham and pineapple man's.
Oh, wow.
You're a man after my heart. That is my answer as well.
Yep.
I'm a Hawaiian lover.
I grew up on Thai food. My mother's from Thailand, so a lot of our dishes have sweet in them. You know, I'm not opposed to having sweet as my main dish. So, the Hawaiian pizza kind of speaks to that.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for hanging out, Rahul. This has been like a super huge treat for us, and we, you know, absolutely loved having you. And the door is always open. Like, we would love to just have you back and hang out and talk about stuff. Where can folks find you on social media?
You can find me at Rahul Kohli 13 on Twitter and Instagram, and don't bother with fucking Snapchat or Tumblr. That'll do. Just Instagram and Twitter at Rahul Kohli 13. That shit flew by, man. We like. I know. I feel like we've only been talking for like 10 minutes.
It's crazy. It just does that. It's like magic. iZombie's on Tuesday nights on the CW at 9 p.m. Correct?
98 Central, yeah.
98 Central. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, man.
Thank
thanks
you
so much,
man.
And the door is always open anytime you want to talk about games.
Definitely.
All right. Take care, man. Congrats on season 3.
Cheers, buddy.
All right, so that was our interview with Rahul Kohli from CW's iZombie, and I had a lot of fun with this one. This guy was super cool, and I'm really glad he took the time to do this. It was just great, and I hope that we run into him at Comic-Con this year so we can give him a leaping slow motion high five, and maybe we can do a reenactment of the Karate Kid with him as well.
Oh, that would be great.
That'd be amazing.
A lot of crane kicks together.
We can be the Cobra Kai to his Daniel-san.
He fits in, and he talked about it a little. He fits into our ethos ? I don't know. He fits into our theme of people who just kind of did the grind and worked their ass off to get a break.
Yeah, the story of basically essentially working hard for 10 years and not giving up, and sort of like you reach that point where you're like, oh man, like if this doesn't happen, then what? And then you channel your energy into something positive, and like look what happens, and it's right. It's an incredible story. It's really amazing.
Yeah, I remember stumbling across that story, which was only, I think it was explained in like, I don't know, a sentence or two. I stumbled across online, and I was like, that's just an incredible story of how he landed the iZombie job. And we make it sound like, oh, it's like, this rare thing. I mean, it is an incredibly rare thing that never happens, but it's also a testament to his talent. Like, the casting director probably wasn't a dummy, and they cast the right person for the job. And now he's on this great show that is honestly, one of my favorite shows on TV. And it's great that someone that is so, a member of the community of pop culture lovers is on this show that is becoming a part of pop culture. So
for sure.
Absolutely.
And, I bet if you joke about it, but I bet if you challenge him to recite lines from Karate Kid and act it out with you, that he'll probably jump right into it right away, and you're going to look like a fool.
Oh yeah. He probably, definitely.
He'll have all the lines ready, and you'll be like, put him in a body bag.
That line is so brutal, right?
Yeah.
I love it. Absolutely love it. It's funny when he was talking about, He-Man and loving He-Man as a kid. One of my earliest memories as a little kid is getting picked up from daycare and my mom giving me a He-Man figure. And then I became obsessed with He-Man, when I was really, really young. And I had, all the toys.
That's
I used
incredible.
to cut up. They came with like little mini comic books, the He-Man toys.
Yeah, I remember.
And I would cut them up and make my own comic books.
What?
So I would cut up all the panels and like restructure them to like make my own, and then I put them in a photo album. I still have it. I'll show it to you guys.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
But, yeah.
I had Snake Mountain.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I never got Grayskull or anything.
I think I had Grayskull, but my mom
Mountain.
sold it all at a garage sale.
Yeah, my mom
Really?
sold Grayskull too.
Yeah.
I just sold a box of broken G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
Oh man,
It's sad times.
hard to let that stuff go. I still have a box of broken Transformers, like the old ones, the metal ones.
Yeah.
I don't know. I probably can never get rid of that, to be honest with you.
I still have
I
some
thought about
Thundercats
keeping it
toys.
forever, but then I was like, I'm never gonna, like, all the rubber bands are broken.
Oh,
they're
yeah,
G.I.
it's hard
Joes,
to-
they're held together with rubber bands, and I was
Yeah.
like, they're all broken, and I'm like, I'm never gonna spend the time to like put these rubber bands back inside of the G.I. Joe character.
You need to get a bunch of those the little rubber bands that you use on your braces, in middle school. Yeah, you'd have to get a bunch of those.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow,
It'd be all
we're way
jingly.
off the rails, aren't we?
Yeah,
What?
let's just close this fucker down. What do you say?
Sounds good. We gotta go play the Division, man.
I know, we're going to go play some games.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to episode 225 of the Rated NA podcast. And thanks to Rahul Kohli for coming on the show, which is unbelievable. And we're super stoked to have him on.
I feel like there's going to be an episode in the future where he just comes on to promote nothing, and then we're just gonna, we'll review the Division with him or something.
Yeah, we would absolutely
like the
love
Red
that.
Dead prequel will come out, and he'll just come on, and we'll just talk about that.
Yes, if that gets announced, we'll have him right back in a moment.
That'd be so great. That'd be so great. But as always, you can find us on Twitter, and that's at Nerd Appropriate on Twitter. You can go to Facebook /Nerd Appropriate on Facebook. You can email us directly, and that's Matt, Scott, and Ash at nerdappropriate.com. Or if you have a general question, you can email nerds@nerdappropriate.com. And you can, of course, go to our YouTube page. Just do a little YouTube search for Nerd Appropriate, and then we
Nerd Appropriate, isn't it?
It should be. I didn't want to say that because I don't really know.
Let's find it out right now.
All right. But you could go to our YouTube page, which is something like it's slash nerd appropriate. And then we have some old interviews and stuff up there as well. And you'll likely be able to find this one on there too, if that is your preferred way of consuming our content. And thank you guys so much for listening. And we'll be back next week with an all new show.
Goodbye.
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 This is the part where I say things right.
You say a couple of things.
I say a couple of things, girl.